Short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, my friends? It is Stormy, of course, and welcome back to another episode of the Imperial Cantina. Now, if you guys are brand new here, this setup won't be any different to you, but I know a lot of you guys, a majority of you guys, are returning to the IC here, and yes, this is a brand new setup. So basically what I did was I moved out of my very, very crowded bedroom, which I had to, rearrange some stuff basically to film in there, and I said, you know what, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I think I'll just come into my office and I'll just basically film from a different angle, and we'll do the Imperial Cantina in here. Now, if you guys are new here, what I discuss on the Imperial Cantina is basically just kind of like off-topic Star Wars discussions. For instance, today I'm talking about why A New Hope is my favorite film. I like to sit down sometimes and just have a discussion with you guys, face-to-face, or face-to-camera at least. And then coming up in just a couple of weeks, or maybe next week, I think it is the week after that, I'm talking about my favorite Star Wars video game. So just to give you guys an idea of what you're going to be seeing on the Imperial Cantina. So, as I said, today I'm going to be finally discussing my favorite Star Wars film of all time, and that is none other than A New Hope. Yes, the very first Star Wars film ever made, actually the original Star Wars. And no, this film isn't just my favorite for nostalgic purposes, and I should also be clear that, the best film, I do recognize that the best film in the franchise is Empire Strikes Back. I mean, Empire Strikes Back is what I rented all the time as a little kid. I remember vividly going to, even on like family vacations to like Washington D.C. or something like that. I remember vividly, we would get to go to a video store, and we can select one movie that we had that night. Bam, always Empire Strikes Back. So I fully realized that Empire Strikes Back is the best film in the original trilogy, but my favorite film, your favorite film, that's on another level. Your favorite film in the trilogy is the one that just hits home. It's the one that hits here and really, really pulls on those strings and touches those emotional chords, and for me inspires that sense of adventure. And adventure is a huge element here to why A New Hope is my favorite film. It's the sense that this is the beginning of the journey. It's the same reason why people always ask me, what's your favorite Lord of the Rings film? My favorite Lord of the Rings film is Fellowship of the Ring. What's your favorite Harry Potter film? Well, it's The Sorcerer's Stone. Why? Because that's the start of the adventure. That's the start of everything. Right there in that movie and that moment is when our characters emerge for the first time, and you start your adventure all over again. No matter how many times you watch Star Wars, you can always, pop in A New Hope one more time, and then the adventure starts over again. Same thing, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, right? You pop in the first film, and it's the start of the adventure all over again. And that's what really hits home for me the most, is that spirit of the journey that's about to begin. I love that even the scene that I got behind me here of Luke looking over, just into the twin suns, looking over the Tatooine escape there, and just that sense of spirit that he has in there, that soul that he has within him that's about to wake up and go on this great expansive adventure through the galaxy. That's what I love so much. And also, aside from that, there is a lot of nostalgic stuff that goes in, a lot of nostalgic elements that go into it as well. Obviously it's the first Star Wars film that I ever saw, so every time I pop it in and I start it again, I just get that feeling of nostalgia wiping over me. But also because, Star Wars, when it first came out, there was only one Star Wars. There was just the original Star Wars. So A New Hope also tells a complete story. It's another big reason why I love it so much, is because from start to finish, if it was only that movie that had ever existed, it would still be a great sci-fi movie with a beginning, a middle, and an end that touched on all of the mythos and all of the child transferring into adult life kind of elements that George Lucas was talking about at Celebration. And then also, aside from that, this is the film that has really the most emotional pull for me too. This is also the realist film in many ways, too, in the original trilogy, because as the films progressed through, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, the technology got better, and the props got better, and the stuntmen got better, and there were directors and more producers coming in, and stuff like that, so everything was really improved as they moved through the trilogy. But that original film, the original Star Wars, A New Hope, I mean, you're talking about model builders, taking apart ship models and airplane models and all this random stuff and piecing together their own starships and doing drive-by, cameras on the back of trucks, drive-by explosions on these model pieces, real X-Wings and TIE fighters, and the costume props. This movie was built from the ground up. This movie is the reason why the Star Wars universe is required to have that kind of, so that sort of lived-in feel that we don't feel right unless the universe is lived in. A New Hope is the movie that's responsible for that. Just the very imagery in the movie itself, C-3PO and R2-D2 all tattered and, sandblasted from the desert, going across the desert, and the Jawas and the Sandcrawler, and meeting Luke and Uncle Owen for the first time, and buying the droids, and just that, Tatooine, right? That, like, the cantina and all the aliens and stuff like that, right? This movie was just completely manufactured by hand. This was not the age of blue screen and green screen. Everything you saw on the screen was like 100% real, almost. And it's like that's the roots of Star Wars. That movie is the roots of Star Wars. Ever since we moved into Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, it has always in some way been a departure from that original film, from the original Star Wars, because as I said, the effects and everything keep getting better. And that of course enhances our experience. Of course, it's the modern times. But what I'm saying is that's roots. That's roots for Star Wars. And it's another one of the many reasons why I just love A New Hope so much, because it's the realest that you're ever going to see Star Wars. I don't know about you guys, but I still watch Star Wars on VHS. I still have a working VCR, actually a couple of them. I collect VCRs. And I still have a working VCR in my entertainment center, and I still have the original 1997 special edition cuts with all the great stuff in there, like Luke, screaming as he falls down in the pit in Bespin. Vader doesn't say no at the end in The Last Jedi, right? But another one of the reasons why I like to watch the original trilogy on VCR is because it makes you feel like you're watching it in the 70s, right? So all I'm saying is aesthetic. Like the original Star Wars, 1977, it just had that aesthetic. That's how Star Wars is supposed to look. That's how every Star Wars film has copied that one, obviously, since for the look alone. And that's just a magical thing to me. All of the magic that went behind that film, George Lucas, bravely taking that journey and actually bringing that film to life for all of us to see. I mean, that was brave. And just as, Billy Dee Williams pointed this out at Celebration too, is that not a lot of people understand what it means to be a true visionary. And some people who are visionaries don't even realize the talent that they have. They don't realize that other people don't think like that. Their minds don't work like that, right? So, and George Lucas is a true visionary. He now he's retired and everything, so I should say he was a true visionary. But this man's vision for this movie is responsible for everything. It's responsible for everything. And that first movie, Star Wars: A New Hope, is where everything started. And of course, I can't end the video without talking about the amazing space battle at the end. Probably, Return of the Jedi has the best space battle in Star Wars so far that I've seen, but man, the Death Star assault at the end of A New Hope was fantastic because, again, we're talking about real models here. We're talking about cameras and real models, and just how everything was so guerrilla. It was just guerrilla filmmaking. And yet George Lucas was able able to pull off these amazing in-camera stunts with these model aircraft and make it feel so visceral and so real. And then of course we had Ralph McQuarrie and his amazing concept art that inspired everything, and also his matte paintings, my god, that went into all of the pieces and all the set pieces on Star Wars. Even in the final assault on the Death Star, there's a couple of matte paintings there for just split seconds in a couple of shots. But yes, Han Solo leaving, all of the X-Wing pilots losing their life, rest in peace, Porkins, you know what I'm saying? And, Biggs Darklighter, the unsung hero of the entire Death Star assault, and then Luke gaining control, Han coming back in the end, saving the day, shooting Vader off into space, Luke fires the shots, boom. I mean, it is just... the last 5 minutes of A New Hope is like the most intense. I would go so far as to say that is the most intense moment in all of Star Wars history. You just have John Williams driving, the music there, the score for the entire scene. Han Solo comes in, blows the TIE fighter away, and then John Williams' music comes in, bum 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 bum. And then Luke fires, the Death Star's about to fire, Luke fires, and then boom, just as the Death Star's about to fire, boom, it goes up into space, and then Luke's the hero, there's this huge celebration, and then the whole ending sequence, the whole award ceremony, it is a perfect film. It is literally from start to finish. It might be a little rushed in some areas, right? But let's not forget this is guerrilla filmmaking, right? Aside from all those little minor discrepancies, this is a perfect film. From start to end, it tells a complete story. If it was the only one ever in existence, it would still be one of the greatest sci-fi films to ever be in existence inside the fantasy community, and that's why all of those reasons are why A New Hope will always be my favorite Star Wars film of all time, the start of the adventure. So now it's time for you guys to leave all of your thoughts and opinions down below in the Great White Void. I mean, I want to hear from you guys, what is your favorite Star Wars movie? As a matter of fact, go ahead and leave your Star Wars phone number down below. That'd be a really, really fun thing to do, to try to gauge, to see where everybody's at in terms of their favorite Star Wars movie, even right now. But Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, right? What is your favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and why? Leave all of your thoughts below, and I will see you guys for the next episode of Imperial Cantina, which will be coming up in just about a week. So until then, take care, guys, and until next we meet, stay in the galaxy far, far away.